Right, Norris and Verstappen. I've spent some time since the race just getting my opinion together on the incident on them two yesterday in the race, and here's my thoughts on it.
Keep in mind, this is just my opinion, and if it doesn't align with yours, that is fine, because everybody has and is entitled to their own opinion.
Overall, the whole thing between Max and Lando, like everything all rolled into one opinion, hard and sloppy racing. Like seriously, the wheel-to-wheel between them yesterday wasn't great. It looked a little bit, the wheel-to-wheel between them could have been better, is what I'm trying to say. But going more into detail, the collision first, to me it feels like a racing incident where the blame is a bit more on Max, if you kind what I mean.
He coulda and shoulda really been leaving Lando a bit more space on the outside, because he had eons of space on the inside he could have been using as to no bang wheels with the McLaren. I saw this tweet last night that slows down the moment where they were going up towards turn 3, and you can see that Verstappen does drift out to the left as Norris is coming up his outside, and they touch, punctures happen, they go off, mere contact happens, and you're not meant to move in the braking zone. He shouldn't have.
But at the same time, they could have gone wheel to wheel yonder without making contact. Lando could have gone more onto the curb and then switchbacks out the corner.
Example here, 2023, Max having to overtake Carlos after Max had made a pit stop. I am having to re-record this because I at first thought it was Charles. It's not, it's actually Carlos. Now, as you can see, Sainz does drift to the left towards Verstappen a bit in the braking zone, like Max did on Lando this year. And yes, like Verstappen, then Sainz shouldn't have drifted over into the braking zone because you're no meant to move in the braking zone. But Verstappen goes more onto the curb, so they done a make contact. He then makes the switch back and then moved on out the corner on the run down into turn 4.
If you think about it, Norris could have done that. He could have been moving a bit, he could have moved a bit more onto the curb, so they didn't make contact and then made a switch back out through turn 3. He could have gotten the move on the run down to turn 4. But again, yes, he shouldn't have had to, because Max probably shouldn't have been moving over in the braking zone, honestly, because like I said, you're not meant to do that. So like, that's just kind of my thinking here on why I'm saying racing incident, but the blame's a bit more on Max. Credit to 433_Mark on Twitter, by the way, for pointing out this comparison. I do agree with them in that it's more of a racing incident, but as I say, for me, it's a racing incident with the blame a bit more on Max. Because yeah, Lando could have avoided the contact happening, but at the same time, he shouldn't have had to, because Max shouldn't have been drifting over in the braking zone. Are you seeing what I'm meaning? Are you starting to see what I'm meaning when I say the wheel-to-the-wheel was a little sloppy between those two?
The collision itself definitely is not as bad as some seem to be overreacting to it as. It kind of looks more clumsy than anything else. It's really not as an egregious move, really. And I mean, come on, we've seen Max do worse. Let's be real. And the penalty that he got, 10-second penalty, yeah, fair. I mean, it didn't really change anything since he had a big enough gap to Hulkenberg. So it kind of feels like a little pointless, kind of like that the other week when Sargent got a 3-place grid penalty when he qualified P20. But honestly, fair penalty, whatever. And then more on Lando specifically, away from the incident, he should have maybe tried something a little different to get past Max, changed his approach, because dive bombing at turn 3 clearly wasn't working. And it was getting a tad ambitious and desperate, as I've seen the people kind of saying, like the lap before the contact, the dive then, bit ambitious, he kind of outbroke himself. I mean, whether you think there that Max should have given the place back to him aside or not, you're not going to get past Max by just trying the same thing over and over, because he'll see you try it, then he'll wise up to it and Mac moves to, you know, try and block you from doing that again, if you know what I mean.
Oh, and as for the whinging post-race, mainly from the McLaren side of things, mainly from the Norris side of things, look, it ain't a good look. I get that he's pissed off, I get that he's not happy about what happened, but whinging about it like it's the school playground, like about how, oh, if Max doesn't take accountability, he'll lose respect for him, or whatever it was he said, whinging is not going to change anything. So in short, to sum up my opinions on the collision, both of these two could have been better in their wheel-to-wheel in Austria. It was a bit sloppy, to be honest. The collision feels like a racing incident to me, where the blame is a little more on Max, because he shouldn't have been moving in the braking zone. He shouldn't have been drifting over. Could have left Lando a bit more space. But at the same time, Norris ain't escaping this scot-free. He could have gone a bit more onto the curb to avoid making contact. But again, yes, he shouldn't have had to, because like I said, Max could have left a bit more space. It's just that the move, that moment could have gone by without contact. That's just the thing about it. And as I said, a little bit more in generally with them, some of Lando's dive bombs seemed a little ambitious, and as I've seen others say since the race, maybe a little desperate. And I just seemed like they both kind of cracked under the pressure, really. I mean, they were bound to come together eventually, Verstappen and Norris. It was bound to happen eventually. It's almost kind of like a bit of a rite of passage, really, for, rivals fighting out the front a lot. Like, if you fight someone a lot, you're bound to have it coming together with them eventually. Like, it's happened tons of times before. Senna and Prost, Schumacher and Hill, Schumacher and Villeneuve, Rosberg and Hamilton, Hamilton and Vettel, Leclerc and Verstappen, Hamilton and Verstappen, and now Verstappen and Norris. But did I expect it to happen in their first proper time battling wheel to wheel for the win? No. No, I did not. Because it was their first time battling close to wheel, lap after lap for a win. I mean, yeah, Lando's been in contention for wins a few times now this year. He was in contention in Canada and in Spain and in Imola, where all he missed out. He got the win in Miami, but they weren't really close wheel to wheel there. And in those other ones, it wasn't really a lap after lap battle. Austria was the first wheel to wheel, lap after lap battle that those two have had. But then the fact it kind of happened basically immediately in the first race of them battling lap after lap for win can kind of go to show that Lando maybe has a bit to go in terms of learning about how to battle for the win lap after lap, and especially battling Max for the win lap after lap, Other drivers can do it, you can race Max. Charles, for example, honestly, give us Max versus Charles again, please. Then again, this has also shown that version of Max from before, from 2021 and earlier, it didn't go anywhere. Like, the Max that's a lot bit more aggressive and he's on the edge more, that Max did not go anywhere. He's just been sleeping. Like, he hasn't lost that aggressive side of him that we saw in 2021 when he was battling with Hamilton for the title. Or, say, 2019 battling Leclerc sometimes. Or before. He definitely isn't as aggressive as he used to be, but that aggressive side of him, the 2021 side, is still there. He just hasn't had to use it because he hasn't really had anyone to fight the last couple of years. But now it's coming back out and he kind of has to rediscover it, I guess, if you know what I mean. But either way, Norris, he is quick, he's talented. I do think he still has a bit to go in terms of the close battling for a win, if you know what I mean. And maybe a bit to go in terms of the maturity side of it, maybe? I don't know, that's just all my opinion of it, really.
Oh, and just to mention, I was gonna have the next episode of my insert season here series up today, the what I've worked there for 2022. However, I realized the other day that I screwed something up when I was working at one of the races, so now I have to redo a portion of the video. So I'm moving that back a week. It'll be out next week. What's your thoughts on the Verstappen Norris thing? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new around here for more Formula 1 content from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.